Hi, my name is Calvin, and I was diagnosed with stage 1 lung cancer at the age of 33 in 2000. Back in 2016, I was traveling quite a bit for work, and I actually got to Germany. And after a long flight, wasn't feeling too well, and it ended up turning into me being bedridden in Germany for 4 days in a hotel room. And when I flew home, I immediately went to the doctor with whatever medication they gave me in German. And my doctor back home in Denver, she looked at it. She said, "Oh, okay, looks like you had pneumonia, and let's get you treated for that, and then we'll run some tests." And so they ran some tests, and then she was like, "Oh, you just have adult asthma. You had asthma as a kid. You have adult asthma." This is 2016, and so 2017's kept traveling, and we continuously ran through this pattern of this 3-month cycle where in month 1 I'd get really sick for a week or so. Month 2 we would change medications. Month 3 I'd feel okay, and we went through this cycle and cycle, and I kept traveling for work, and and then COVID hit. And so in 2000, my daughter is allergic to peanuts, and so we were at an asthma center, and we were getting her tested, and I asked her doctor. I said, "Hey, can I just get a meeting with you, because I supposedly have had adult asthma for the last few years. It's not getting better. We're not doing anything because it's COVID, and I'm still getting really sick." She said, "Sure." Came in, did the allergy test. She gave me some asthma tests, and she's like, "You need to go get X-rays right now." And so thankfully the same center had an X-ray center. Went over, did X-rays, and then they said you need to go to a pulmonologist. And so this is all like April 2020. So I went to the pulmonologist, did a bunch of tests, and she said, "You have one of three things." She goes, "Either one, you have this fatal lung disease and you got maybe 6 to 12 months. Two, you have cauliflower lung, which is what a lot of people get from vaping or whatever. And I've never smoked tobacco. And so the third option," she goes, "is you have lung cancer." She goes, "It's probably your best option. And we have to do a bunch of tests." And so, again, with this being April, May of 2020, not really the easiest time to get in and out of medical centers. And so took a little bit, but went in, did all the scans, PET scan, and all these different tests. And we went camping, because that's what we did during COVID. And we went camping. And being that I live in Denver, 5280, and we went up to somewhere above Vail, so it was like 7,000 feet, and I couldn't breathe. Like I just was like, and I was like, "How is this possible? Like I'm not sick, like ill or whatever, and I don't have COVID." Obviously, we were testing all the time with it. At the time, we had a 2-year-old, and so came back down, and they said, "Look, we have to do a biopsy of your lung. Like we really do believe at this point we got to do a biopsy." And so it was a Wednesday. So they do the biopsy, and they had scheduled it for like an hour, and 5 minutes in they stopped it, because as soon as they because they had missed everything in these tests, so as soon as they put the camera down, they just saw this mass that was sitting over my left lung. And so they stopped it, and they pulled the camera out of my throat. And then they said, "You have to come back in tomorrow. We have to remove this mass." And so they're like, "Look, we've done this a bunch. We know what it is. Can't tell you officially, but it's the color, the type. It looks exactly like cancer. Well, we'll have to take it out tomorrow. We weren't prepared for this mass. We just thought we were going to come do a biopsy." So they removed the mass, and then this was a Thursday, and so fast forward. This is now 10 days before, or this is Labor Day weekend, like the week before Labor Day. And so they they take out the mass, and they're like, "Look, we'll get back to you within 10 days, 7 to 10 days." And so the next Friday was that Friday before Labor Day weekend. And my wife and I are just sitting at home, twirling our thumbs, like, "All right, it's day 8, and we haven't gotten the test results back." And we're like hammering our pulmonologist and everyone, "Just give us the answers." And so it was 5:07 p.m. and the surgeon of the hospital calls, the chief of surgeons. He calls and he says, "Hey, I'm really sorry that it's so late. We have the results. You have stage 1 cancer, but it's the best outcome and it's the easiest thing for us to treat." And we show up and walk in, and he's got everything, all the scans, all the stuff. He's got it all decked out, and he's like, "So here's the deal. In 13 days, you're going to have surgery, and we're taking your entire left lung. Here's what we're going to do." And he maps it all out, and we're like, do we have a second opinion on this? He goes, "Look, I'm on the endocrine, which was the type of cancer I had, or tumor I had." And he's like, "I'm on the board of Colorado with your oncologist, with your pulmonologist. Like, we are the team. This is what you're going to do." And we're just going to, he's like, "I got you booked in because I'm the chief of surgeons here. I own the books. This is your appointment time. See you in 13 days on the Thursday." And he goes, "Where do you work?" Tell him where I work. And he's like, "They're not going to shut down without you, are they?" I was like, no, they're fine. And he's like, "So here's what you're going to do. You're going to walk out of this office. You're going to call your boss and say, 'I'll see you in 6 months,' or whatever time you can do, because in 13 days, your life will never be the same. You need to leave here, grab your family, go to Estes Park, go wherever you want, see the leaves change, go to altitude, because you're never going to be able to breathe this way again." Because the mass was moved so I could actually breathe. And I was at the point, like I think a lot of people go through, which is, "Wait, I feel amazing. You removed the mass. Can I wait for science? Can I wait for something to come in and fix this?" And I asked him that, and he goes, "If you do, you will end up with stage 3 or 4 cancer, and you will die. Don't be an idiot." Immediate reaction is, the time our daughter was 2-year-old daughter, and like, what comes with that? Like, what are the next steps? Lung cancer's thought of as this like really fatal, and we talk a lot about it in this community of the stigma that it comes with. And I never smoked, and then it came through, like, all, what did I do wrong? What did I do to cause this? And like, how do I stop it? And you can't. Like, at that point, it's done. And it really came down to, is my wife stuck raising our daughter by herself? I actually didn't know what to expect as a young 30-year-old athlete. Played sports my entire life. You get through injuries, stuff hurts, but you're always like, whatever, I'll get through it. Like, I'll get by and I'll play the next sport, and this, whatever, I'll figure it out. Um, the and I've never had this major surgery. I've never only lived with one lung. Like, I don't know what the reality of that is. I can hear words, but that doesn't matter. The irony is, half the reason I know is a Thursday, because Thursday night football was happening, and I had a fantasy player, James Robinson, on the Jaguars at the time, who was doubtful to play. But it's Thursday night football, and I needed him to play. We'll get to the surgery in a bit, but the first words out of my mouth when I woke up, I asked my wife, "Is James Robinson playing?" And because I needed her to change the lineup if he wasn't. And so then they finish off, took out the entire lung at that point. So my wife, I'm obviously clearly knocked out. My wife has to go through these emotions, which obviously is way worse than anything in the moment. And so, yeah, that was rough for her. And then they put me in the ICU for a day and a half, and then I was in general, whatever, non-ICU in the hospital for 5 days, and I had to relearn how to walk, urinate, everything. Like, everything was just not working. And so having to relearn how to walk and all the other fun parts of it. But then, like, not being able to see anyone else, particularly my daughter, and my mom, she just sat in the parking lot because she couldn't come in. There's only one person allowed, and so she just sat in the parking lot and hung out and waited and waited. Had they immediately diagnosed and figured it out, I don't know that I would have cared as much, because I didn't have my daughter. Like, it was all about, like, I need to get back to as best as I can be, because she, one, like, I'm her dad. Two, I'm the one that she plays with. Like, I need to be able to still do these things. And my daughter, vacations are different. How we travel is different. Um, Getting to sea level is always amazing. Plan our trips based on where I can operate really well. And it also is preparing and making sure my wife is, I don't want to say prepared, but understanding like, hey, look, we're going to go here and it's going to be extremely humid and I can't go outside. Can't really do Mexico that well anymore because you can't breathe. So I need to sit in air conditioning because that's where I can breathe. And so the new normal is like, look, I get to still sit here and I now have a 1.5-year-old and I can sit there and throw a ball with him and I can, still, play horse or whatever that the kids want. But it comes with a lot of breaks and it comes with making sure what we do is essentially climate controlled. And yeah, it's definitely different. And you just work through it. The biggest thing is if you believe something is wrong and if you listen to your body and you go, something is different, make sure you go through every process you can to figure it out. Don't be arrogant or cocky about where you believe you are, and don't blindly trust every medical professional you find, because there are rules and there's things that get in the way of how you can get to the testing you need. Don't just go through the course because that's what they tell you to do. Go find out, get hungry, go advocate for yourself.